Every single day, my Facebook feed fills up with angry tenants posting their landlord horror stories. And half the time, when I'm reading these posts, I'm thinking, that landlord has no idea they're about to get sued. Last year alone, 3.7 million lawsuits involved landlords in the United States. And here's what most DIY landlords don't realize. When a tenant takes you to court and wins, tens of thousands of dollars are at stake. The scariest part, the stuff that gets landlords sued usually isn't obvious fraud or bad intent. It's the standard practices. It's the normal habits. It's the things that self-managing landlords do without thinking twice. And here in Texas, a lot of those standard practices are 100% illegal. So in this video, we're gonna cover the 7 most common myths that I see that could land you in court. And what's crazy is how many people think that number 5 and 6 are just standard operating procedures. Spoiler alert, they're not. So let's get at it. I'm Greg Schwartz, and I've been investing in Bryan-College Station for 6 years. I self-manage my portfolio of over 25 units, and I've watched enough landlords learn these lessons the hard way to know you don't want to be the guy ordered by the judge to write a check for a mistake you didn't even know you were making. So today we're going to walk through the 7 most common landlord practices that are flat out illegal in Texas, starting with the hardware that gets landlords sued, then the money mistakes that wreck your ROI, and finally the eviction tactics that completely backfire. Let's start with the stuff you touch every day and don't even think about it. Myth number 1 is that a standard deadbolt is good enough for my rental property. It's not. Texas law requires keyless bolt devices on every single exterior door. That's a one-way lock that nobody, and I mean nobody, can open from the outside. Not with a key, not with a credit card, not with anything. And there are specific height requirements too. This isn't a suggestion. If a break-in happens and you don't have the right hardware installed, you could be 100% liable as if you were the criminal. Here in College Station, we've got thousands of student rentals turning over every August. That's thousands of landlords who should be checking their deadbolts right now and probably aren't. And that brings me to myth number 2. And this one is probably the most common mistake I see here in Bryan-College Station. If a tenant hands back all of the keys when they move out, I don't need to rekey the property. It's just too expensive. It's not worth the cost. And you are absolutely wrong. Texas law states that you must rekey or replace every exterior lock within 7 days of a new tenant moving in. It doesn't matter how many keys they gave you. It doesn't matter if they seemed trustworthy. Within 7 days, if a prior tenant kept a copy, and they do, trust me, they do, they forget about one, and God forbid something happens to that new tenant, you're done. The law doesn't care that you thought you were fine. In a college town where student leases churn every summer, this isn't optional. It's the price of doing business. Just rekey the locks. Now look, keeping up with every single legal requirement while also screening tenants and collecting rent and handling maintenance, that's not an easy side hustle. So if you own a few doors here in Bryan-College Station and you're trying to scale without feeling overwhelmed, we can help. Just shoot me the word cash flow in the subject line to my email address, info@schwartzrealtygroup.com, and we will get the conversation started and let you know how to effectively self-manage here in BCS. All right, let's talk about how DIY landlords bleed money without realizing it. Myth number 3, you can't charge whatever you want in late fees. Nope, Texas caps late fees hard. For properties with 4 or fewer units, the total late fee cannot exceed 12% of the monthly rent, and that's it. And it has to be tied to a reasonable estimate of your actual damages, not just whatever number feels good to you as a landlord. If you're charging a flat $150 late fee on a $900 unit, you're over the legal limit, and a tenant who knows the law can come after you for it. Let me put that in real numbers. Let's say your rent is $2,000 a month. Pretty standard for a nice single family house here in Bryan-College Station. 12% of that is $240 a month. Charge even $1 more, and you're handing the tenant ammunition to get out of any kind of eviction that you try to file. Myth number 4, unclaimed security deposit. This one gets real ugly. Let's say that a tenant bails a month early. They disappear. They never give you a forwarding address. So you got nowhere to send any leftover deposit. Can you just keep what's left over? No. The 30-day clock to return a deposit pauses until that tenant gives you a forwarding address in writing. If they never do, you still don't get to keep it. You have to hold those funds. And after 3 years, if nobody claims them, then they don't become yours. They go to the Texas comptroller as unclaimed property. Pocketing that money isn't smart, and actually, it's theft. This next section, this is where landlords don't just lose money, they fund their tenant's next vacation. Myth number 5, if they stop paying rent, I'll just change the locks until they come up with the cash. I get why this feels logical. No pay, no access. But the law doesn't see it that way at all. You cannot lock a tenant out of of their home, even if they're behind on rent, even if they're a nightmare tenant, even if every landlord instinct in your body screams that you can do it. Changing the lock is an illegal eviction. An illegal eviction comes with damages, civil penalties, and the tenant's attorney's fees. All of them. You're not just losing the case, you're writing the check for the lawyer who beat the snot out of you. Myth number 6 is the same playbook, but a different move. I'll just shut off the utilities. That'll get them out. Never, never do this. Shutting off water, gas, or electricity to force someone out or to force someone to pay is a textbook self-help eviction, and judges in Texas have zero patience for it, absolutely zero. You will lose, you will pay damages, and you will pay for their lawyer. And you deserve it, because a professional landlord should never have this on the table as an option, because you should know better. And finally, myth number 7, they signed a 12-month lease and they break it early. They should owe me the full 12 months. We had an agreement, right? It sounds legit on paper. I mean, literally, the lease says that they owe you to the end of the term, but Texas law doesn't work that way. Landlords have what's called a duty to mitigate. That means that the second a tenant breaks a lease or skips on you, you have to make a good faith, documented effort to find a replacement tenant as fast as possible. You cannot leave the unit empty, let the months tick by, and then send them a bill for the full year. You also cannot double dip. Collecting from the old tenant while a new tenant is already paying, both of those are illegal and both will get you sued. So there they are, 7 things that probably sound like normal landlord behavior, and every single one of them can cost you thousands of dollars or more. The landlords who stay out of court aren't just the ones who memorize the Texas property code, they're the ones who stop assuming and start verifying. If you're running into roadblocks getting your next property, let me know, shoot me the words cash flow to info@schwartzrealtygroup.com. We'll get the conversation started and I will help you grow your portfolio here in town. If you're not ready for that conversation, I recommend you learn more about our local market with this video right here.